What's good? Welcome in. You're watching the San Francisco 49ers Report by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Senior. No matter where you are or how you're tuned in, we appreciate you for making today's show a part of your day. As for what we're getting into, it's game week. The regular season starts on Sunday, so we're going to break down our Niners-Steelers preview, take a look at the injury report, keys to the game, what to watch, and my official score prediction. Before we get started, though, I'm pumped up. If you're stoked to see the Niners on the field for a game that actually counts on Sunday, I want you to hit that thumbs up icon and like the video. Pretty much everybody should be smashing that thumbs up icon and liking the video. So, you look at this week one matchup between San Francisco and Pittsburgh. One of the reasons I'm really excited about this game, aside from regular season football being back, this is a matchup between two blue bloods in the NFL. You think about when the NFL started to really gain popularity nationwide, it was in the 70s, the 80s, the 90s. That's when the popularity of this game really started to skyrocket. And some of the teams that were quote-unquote blue bloods at the time were the teams that were really good in those separate eras. In the 70s, Pittsburgh Steelers, 80s and 90s, San Francisco 49ers. You throw in some other organizations in there, like the Dallas Cowboys, the Green Bay Packers. So this is a marquee matchup between two historic organizations, but two organizations also that are in the history books for the National Football League. We segue from that to the 49ers injury report. Some players banged up. That's some bad news, but we start off with some solid news on the injury report for the Niners here. Talanoa Hufanga did practice on Tuesday. He's had that cyst behind his knee. That's a good sign for him. Greenlaw was also on the practice field at the SAP Performance Center. He's missed some time because of a hamstring injury. George Odum was out of the blue jersey, meaning that he couldn't participate in practices before. The special teams ace has been dealing with the shoulder ailment. Moody taking practice kicks. So he continues to progress really well. He has that quad injury. And Brock Purdy, full go because of that elbow. As for some of the unfortunate Niners injury news that we're going to continue to monitor all throughout this week. George Kittle not practicing on Monday, I should say, for these. It's not Tuesday yet. So George Kittle on Monday not practicing. We'll see what happens on Tuesday. He did sprint on the side field, but is still dealing with that adductor injury that's been lingering the last couple of weeks. Tashaun Gipson did not practice. He said he's been dealing with some nicks and bruises, but did say he will practice this week for San Francisco. Jordan Mason still out because of that foot injury. Oren Burke still out because of the PCL injury. And then Ray McLeod did not practice because of that broken wrist that he had to undergo surgery for back a couple of weeks ago. Of course, going into this week one game, as we're live right now on this fine Monday, still no Nick Bosa deal yet. The 49ers and Bosa's camp haven't been able to come to a contract extension yet. And for the 49ers to win this game, obviously, it changes drastically. The outlook of their team, the look of their team, the feel of their defense when Bosa is on the field as compared to him not being on the field. So with that, who you got in this game come Sunday? Give me an SF for the Niners, PIT for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think that San Francisco, and I've kind of gone back and forth with this, they do win. It's going to be a little bit of a lower scoring game, 24-21 Niners is my prediction. My keys to the game. You, of course, want to get Nick Bosa signed. He's the reigning Defensive Player of the Year. He changes the outcome of games just by himself, and he's the best defensive end in the National Football League. Teams literally have to game plan against Bosa when they know that he's lining up at that edge rusher spot. And the Niners pass rusher will suffer without him. You also lose a leader. And you lose a guy who addresses the team the night before every single game. That's why he's wearing that C on his chest. For this organization, he's a leader. He leads by example. He really cares about his craft, cares about his game. That's why he's become an elite player. But players look to a guy like that to lead with his actions as well as his words. So if you don't have that presence, it's a little bit of an awkward feeling to not have one of your team captains. Key number 2, got to force Kenny Pickett to throw downfield. He showed some flashes for me during his rookie campaign while playing at Pittsburgh. And going into year 2, it's a big year for him to try to prove to this organization that he can be this team's franchise quarterback looking forward. But when it comes down to Kenny Pickett throwing the ball and pushing the ball downfield, this is an area last year in which he really, really struggled. Out of 33 quarterbacks with 200-plus passing attempts last year, when throwing the football 10-plus yards downfield, Kenny Pickett ranked 31st in expected points added. That's the WAR version for football. 31st in completion rate. 32nd in success rate. 33rd in first down rate. And 33rd in yards per attempt. Translation, Kenny Pickett really struggles when he has to get aggressive in pushing the ball downfield. And if you pressure Kenny Pickett, you can bait him into throwing picks, especially if he panics and tries to throw the ball downfield into the awaiting arms of a Niners defender. And that goes back to point number one, why it's important to have Nick Bosa in generating that pass rush. I also want to see San Francisco get off to a fast start. This sounds obvious, but for this football team, given how they've played to start seasons the last couple of years, and given everything that's transpired over the last few weeks and in this offseason, get off to a fast start. Silence the critics. A dominant win against a team that I believe can be a playoff team in the AFC helps silence a lot of the weird drama and tension that's hovered over this team. And oftentimes for a team that does have Super Bowl aspirations, you don't deal with these weird vibes, and you don't have these weird vibes. You don't have this awkward, dark feeling hovering around your organization. From the weirdness of the Trey Lance trade to the kicker situation to Kyle Shanahan getting short and snippy with the media to this Nick Bosa contract situation. Why it's also important to get off to a fast start. If you punch Pittsburgh in the mouth to begin this football game, you could take them out of it really, really quickly in front of the home crowd. Last year in the first quarter, they ranked 20th among 32 teams with their scoring output. In the second quarter, 16 of 32 teams in their scoring distribution. Third quarter, 30th in the NFL. And in the fourth quarter, 25th in the National Football League. If you get up on Pittsburgh early, that forces Kenny Pickett to throw, and you go back to his struggles and trying to get aggressive and take the top off of the defense, that caters what San Francisco can do well, pin those ears back and get aggressive with Steve Wilks in this defensive scheme. The Steelers' 2022 offense last year, it was very mediocre. And it's not like they're going to take a monumental leap forward. Still the same offensive coordinator, a lot of the same personnel. Points total last year, 26 among 32 teams. Yards per play, 27th at 4.9. They weren't that explosive. Their success rate, 19th. Third down efficiency was pretty good, 44.9. And that is an area in which this Niners team, although they were number one in the NFL across the board, did struggle some on third downs. Red zone efficiency for Pittsburgh. How often did they put points on the board? 23rd in the NFL, just under 52%. Pittsburgh, though, does start seasons off well as far as their season openers. They also start off well when they open up a season at home, which has been a rarity over the last several years. But in their last 5 openers at Heinz Field, now Acrisure Stadium, Pittsburgh is 4-1, and you know that Mike Tomlin is going to have his guys ready to go. We'll be ready to go on Sunday for our Week 1 watch party. Do not miss it. Our coverage begins with an hour pregame show at 12 o'clock Eastern, 9 a.m. for those of you on the West Coast. If you're on the West Coast, drink a mimosa. Wake up with us. You know the drinks will be flowing. And then once the game gets underway, live play-by-play, audience interaction, super chat giveaways, and we will be competing against Pittsburgh Steelers talk. You look at these Week 1 odds for this matchup, Niners 2.5-point favorites. The over-under for this game, very low at 41. Very enticing to try to smash that over, considering it's NFL football, not college football. If you want to bet on this game, no better place to do it than with our sportsbook partner, BetUS, all year offering a 125% deposit bonus when you enter that link down below, chatsports.com/49bet, and the promo code Niners125. More keys to get to. I want to see San Francisco's offensive line locked down on pass protection. Of course, it is of the utmost importance to protect Brock Purdy, especially in his first game action coming off that elbow injury in an actual game that matters. He did play a little bit in the last 2 preseason games. But if Brock Purdy gets hurt at any point this year, I think San Francisco is screwed. That's why I wanted to see this team hold on to Trey Lance. He has a higher ceiling. He has more potential than Sam Darnold. He's an unknown where I think we know what Sam Darnold is, and I think that Lance down the line can be a better player with experience. If Sam Darnold has to be your long-term replacement for Brock Purdy, that could spell disaster for the Niners here in 2023. And speaking of protecting Brock Purdy, keeping him clean in this pocket, the matchup to watch. T.J. Watt coming off an injury-plagued season last year, but the year before that, Defensive Player of the Year with north of 20 sacks against Colton McKivitz, the new Niners right tackle who takes over for Mike McGlinchey. That is a matchup where if Colton McKivitz is stout in pass protection, the Niners can win. If T.J. Watt has a day, that could be the turning point. Moving on, multifaceted offensive approach is what I'm looking forward to seeing for San Francisco. You have a bevy of weapons, a plethora of them running the football with Christian McCaffrey, Jordan Mason, Elijah Mitchell, TDP. And then through the aerial attack, George Kittle if he plays, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, Jawan Jennings. You have all these weapons at your disposal. Keep that Steelers defense on its heels by switching it up in a variety of ways. And the 49ers offense does have the edge over this Steelers defense. Niners offense last year averaged 26.5 points per game. Steelers defense gave up 20, so what's going to give on that front? Yards per game, 377 for the Niners last year, 347 given up by Pittsburgh. Yards per play, Niners offense had the edge, nearly 6 yards per play. Pittsburgh surrendered 5.5. Third down percentage, Niners converted 45% of their third down tries. Pittsburgh gave up 39.3% of them. In the red zone, Steelers defense, not bad. 49ers offense, pretty solid as well. After the Christian McCaffrey trade, you were also looking at a Niners offense that was averaging more than 30 points per game. And then you look at the Steelers offense against the Niners defense. San Francisco's defense, once again, has the edge. Led the NFL in points per game given up at 16.3. Steelers offense only averaged a notch over 18. And you look up and down the board here, San Francisco should be able to play well and dominate this football game on both sides of the ball. I get a sneaky feeling that it's going to be close, and I think that it could be close because Pittsburgh's a feisty team. But the point here being San Francisco has the clear talent edge, and there's no way that they should lose this game, but weird things often happen in week 1 of the NFL season. Lastly, the Niners are going to have to contain George Pickens. Pickens is emerging as a really dangerous wide receiver. He was on fire in training camp. He was absolutely excellent in the preseason as well. Pretty much caught all of the targets that went his way from Kenny Pickett, and I think that he could be in store for a huge, massive sophomore campaign. And given that he's like 6'3", really big, who can go up and get it, some people think it's not even a 50-50 ball with him anymore. It's 90-10. Charvarius Ward, Ambry Thomas, Deommodore Lenoir, Samuel Womack, they could have their hands full, and the Niners don't really have DBs who can match up with the height of George Pickens. You look at what he did in his rookie year as compared to Justin Jefferson. Keep in mind that Pickens had some up and down quarterback play and was playing mostly with the rookie in Kenny Pickett. Justin Jefferson, on the other hand, was playing alongside Kirk Cousins. So JJ, to start his career as a rookie, 88 grabs, 1,400 yards, 80 yards per game, 7 touchdowns. And then you look at Pickens, 52 catches, 801 yards, 47 yards per game, 4 touchdowns for an offense that wasn't aggressive, with a quarterback who didn't really throw the ball downfield, and a quarterback who the Steelers kind of had to hide a little bit, but Pickens still as a rookie able to put up 800 yards. We go back to what I was saying a little bit earlier, too, to round things out here. This is a matchup between two blue bloods. And just count on your screen how many rings the Steelers have and how many rings the San Francisco 49ers have. The Niners have 5. The Steelers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The quest for 6 rings for San Francisco starts week 1 in Pittsburgh on the road. And the Niners have an opportunity here to squash all of the drama, all of the weird vibes, and take down a quality opponent to begin the 2023 season. If they win this game going away, a lot of that drama that we've been talking about kind of goes by the wayside. It's up to the Niners to determine that. So with that, predict the score. We asked you earlier to predict the winner. Now get a little bit more precise here. Predict the score of this Week 1 game. Don't forget to tune into our watch party. Going to be an absolute blast. And subscribe to the channel because we appreciate you for watching and all of your support of the show.